Winning Essence and crafting cards is the #1 way in Sorare to get high value in-season cards as cheaply as possible. To earn Essence, all you need to do is have a classic squad, which can be players from any season of Sorare that have ever gone before us, in an SO7 competition, fighting amongst the divisions, get high on the leaderboard, and then all you're doing is stacking up that Essence until you want to start crafting it into cards. But to be able to do that, you need to be able to build the team. Of course, you can win Essence and do all that stuff just by competing in the in-season competitions with your current season cards. But as any Sorare scouter manager around the world who's been around the block once or twice will tell you, having classic cards, whether you're going to use them in arena or in the classic competitions, never mind some of the special stuff like the championship or whatever, is a must-have for every serious Sorare player out there. And whether you've just started playing Sorare and you're just in the in-season competitions, or maybe you've just been specifically targeting the in-season competitions themselves and not looking at the classic stuff, not building into any classic cards, this is an opportunity, this is an avenue that is very much worth going down. Now, if you are brand new to Sorare and you've not yet opened up your account, there's a link in the description in this video, also in the pinned comment. They'll get you $150, pounds, euros, whatever your currency is, of market credit to go out there and start building your roster today. By clicking on that link, you do support me and all the content here at the channel. Sorare love the content at Quinny 3001, so that link is always loaded up with the best sign up bonus available. In the description of the video, you'll find all the beginner tutorial stuff for the new to Sorare Start Here playlist. But if you do get stuck, if you've got any questions, just jump into the comment section and I'll come and sort you out. And if you are a Sorare scouter manager that's already up and running and, you know, cooking with gas, let me know in this video if any of the players pique your interest. Do you go into the market and add any of them in, or how have you been attacking the classic champion region coming into this season? I'm always really interested and excited to see what your guys' thoughts and feelings are on the video, as well as your own angle of approach with these strategies as well, because the champion region is the good and the great of European and world football. Within this strategy, we will be considering and thinking about international utility, as well as those lovely little midweeks we get for Champions League and Europa League and Conference League and all that other kind of stuff as well, because when it comes to just simply going out there to pull essence so we can craft as many cards as possible, all the utility we can get, the better. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But let's just get stuck straight into it, because to set this one up, as always, we're going to start with the goalkeepers, because the goalkeeper really controls and dictates how many teams we can get out and how reliable those teams can be, as well as when we're thinking about the Venn diagram of utility, what game weeks we can actually be playing in. And if we look at the 3 goalkeepers that I've got shortlisted here, this watch list, the link for it will also be in the description of the video. Please do follow it. We've got a bunch of followers on it already, and I think if we get enough followers on it, Sorare will give me a couple of quid of market credits, and why not? So if you could follow it, it would be appreciated, and we'll see if anything comes from it. But we've got 2 star goalkeepers here that are priced kind of differently. One's a bit injured, and we have a real budget goalkeeper here. We'll start off with the budget boy of Kamil Grabara. So Kamil Grabara does not play midweeks, is not his national team #1 goalkeeper at the moment, but at under £4, felt like one of the best value picks that was available across the champion region. This is a guy I'm a big fan of, and at the moment Wolfsburg are not really doing that great, so he does have room for improvement. He's definitely not got the best tail of the tape in terms of scoring profile when it comes to a goalkeeper, but I think considering the budget we've got, and you'll see where we've spent a lot of money elsewhere, having a #3 goalkeeper under £4 of his calibre, 26 years of age, establishing himself in the Bundesliga and has a lot of room for growth in the classic context especially, I just thought I would have him as goalkeeper #3. Now, at the moment, at only £16, his injury discount has made him a bit easier to get into in the immediate term as Alisson Becker, the Liverpool and Brazil #1 goalkeeper. Alisson is very firmly one of the best goalkeepers in the game, and to get him as a classic goalkeeper card for £16, £17 at point of recording is a complete no-brainer. He plays when he's fit, every single week. He is not involved, despite Ederson and Mamardashvili being the #2 goalkeepers for Brazil and Liverpool respectively, in any sort of rotation battle or minute management or anything like that. And a guy that despite the high ceiling he's got of wages and the image and the profile he's got across European and world football, doesn't really have too many of those scary Saudi rumours ever come around for him in particular. So I think at 33 years of age, you really know what you're getting. And when he is back fit and available, Liverpool will be fighting at the top of the table. Yes, they might not win it, as a lot of people think and feel right now, but you know they're going to go deep in the Champions League, and you know defensively, Liverpool are undeniably one of the best stacks to be building in the game. Alongside that, we also have very much more priced like a star level classic goalkeeper at £28, Thibaut Courtois. You can really just copy and paste everything I said about Alisson, but we're thinking about Real Madrid and Belgium. Now, Belgium maybe aren't quite as formidable on the national level as we've seen Brazil be, just generally, but as you can see with Courtois, not really a problem for him, because as a goalkeeper against the sort of teams Belgium are taking on, he can provide very good scores and is very reliable for clean sheets. Never mind with Real Madrid being nailed on as #1 goalkeeper for them, for Champions League and for La Liga. And again, a goalkeeper that can save penalties, can keep clean sheets, can do all manner of things. And I think 3 goalkeepers is a great place to start off with, where we can have quite simply, if Alisson is fit, which right now he isn't, an A or a 1A and a 1B team, and then with the third goalkeeper, it is just a throwaway of the best of the rest. Can we make that work? And even with the 3 goalkeeper trident we've got here, like I've alluded to earlier in the video, we could even take one of them and slide them into the championship, which if over a month period you fancied, you know, winning some match tickets or some experiences or some side shirts or something like that, rather than playing just for the essence, you could maybe diverge and diversify, maybe go into that competition. But I think these are 3 lovely keepers to start us off with. Now, for the 3 teams, prospectively, we could have a maximum of 3 defenders in each team. Each team needs to have a minimum of 2, but in any circumstances, we could play our extra player also as a defender and get 3 defenders into any of the SO7 lineups. I've opted for 8 defenders in this list in total, so we could go triple defense for 2 teams. But with the options we've got in other positions, that's not going to be needed. It can be an option. We have the choice to be able to do that. And tactical flexibility is something that I really tried to build into this. It won't surprise many of you that under £20, Josko Guardiola is for me the top pick. An absolute boss of a defender, left back, left centre back for Man City and for Croatia. Brings the 100s, brings huge scores, is very attacking and very robust defensively. Can genuinely get any decisive, maybe he's the most likely in the game to be available for every decisive possible. I don't know if that's quite the way of phrasing it, but I think you know what I'm getting at. And at 19, under £20, a must get. Closely behind him, I'm a big fan of Nico Schlotterbeck, who's just returned from injury, and when is fit and available for me, has consistently been the best defender card to have in the Bundesliga. A centre-back that pulls no punches, doesn't ever really catch negative decisives, has massive AA, and is available for enough positive decisives where, look at that, 100 against Frankfurt with no decisive, is a real genuine Rolls Royce centre-back card on Sorare. And with him now coming back to fitness, playing for Germany as well as Borussia Dortmund, at £10, just under £11 for a classic card, 25 years of age, I think Schlotterbeck is a must pick up. I can't believe he's under £8. He's not quite been his formidable self, but post Eric Ten Hag, Alex Grimaldo looks to have got a little bit of his groove back for Leverkusen, back to being his good self, decisive, capable, set piece taking left back. Again, one of the best defenders in the Bundesliga, under £10, feels like an absolute no-brainer. The real heir to his throne this season, though, has been David Raum, who at the moment is on a 3-peat of 100s at right now, domestically and for Germany and international. He has been brilliant. He's on set pieces. He's just been given in the summer the captain's armband for Leipzig, and he has elevated his game to a whole new level. This is a player alongside Nico Schlotterbeck I've been a big fan of since Germany under 21s won the Euros back in 2020, and it's great to see these players really fulfilling their potential. And Rom, less money than Grimaldo, is insane value for money. And to finish off the defence in and behind these guys, we've got similar profiles, because as you'll see from the top 4, Grimaldo and Rom, very bombastic fullbacks. And Guardiola's kind of everything, right? But if we think of Guardiola and Schlotterbeck as being Rolls Royce elite centre backs, huge AA, dominant teams, can get those decisives to spike them into the real top scores. You get the real 2 archetypes of the best types of defenders to have on Sorare. And then in the second four, I've tried to repeat it, but we've not quite got the same symmetry there. We've got Pedro Porro, Nathaniel Brown and Jonathan Klaus as our bombastic fullbacks. And for Pedro Porro at £3.45 right now, Nathaniel Brown at £2.60, and Jonathan Klaus at 86p. They just feel like insane value for money. Rami Bensebaini, the penalty taking, set piece taking centre back himself at £1.70 also feels like great bang for buck. And if we're thinking about the top four being for Team 1 and Team 2, and we're maybe rotating between fixtures and form, we've got some fantastic choices there. But then for Team 3, or even if we want to go triple defence into one of them, someone that can stand into Team 2, etc, etc, we've got a great quality there and a nice amount of depth without it being excessive. And with the price point that all four of those guys come in at, I think you can pick them up very flippantly, very easily, without too much of a consequence. The reason I've got Pedro Porro is I think with the set pieces he does take and how attacking he is for Tottenham, you just kind of know what you're getting out of him. We would like to see a few more decisives from him, but again, as one of your your 5th, 6th, 7th choice defender, is a very, very high level, plays internationals also, and a guy that can be called upon. Nathaniel Brown had a really hot peak here in the season, has now made his way into the national team for Germany, and is a guy that, yeah, really at the bottom of your Team 3 patch, is a guy that you don't want to be, nailing your game week to, but is a guy that has huge potential to fall in the footsteps of a David Raum or a Pedro Porro or whatever. Frankfurt, we know, are very attacking, and if you know Frankfurt have got a good game, this is a great guy to have up your sleeve. And I think Bensebaini and Klaus really do speak for themselves. If you've been playing fantasy football for Sorare or anything over the last, I'm going to say 10 years or so, both of these guys have been names that have been around European football as being very good on the ball, very good for assists and goals and all that kind of stuff as well, that for a defender is really cherry on the top of the cake. And the two of them together are £2.50. So I think bang for buck, points per pound, variety, options, numbers. These 8 defenders tick all the boxes. International football, midweek football, you name it. Now we've got 9 midfielders, and I genuinely couldn't believe the level of quality I was able to ram into this midfield engine room, into this department, because again, same as defence, we can play 3 of these midfielders in every game and with in every team, and with 3 teams, 9 midfielders, we could do that in theory in all 3 teams if all of these guys are fit firing and we're desperate to use them. Top of the pile here on price is Kevin De Bruyne at just under £18. Really doesn't need explaining, I don't think. He's hit the ground well enough in Italy. He's doing it for the Belgium national team as well, and very much feels like he's in Indian summer mode, which for legends of the game, Serie A has just got an unreal ability to unlock for people, doesn't it? But cheaper than De Bruyne right now, under £15, is Ballon d'Or winner Rodri. Now, since Rodri's returned from injury, we've maybe not quite had, if we can scroll all the way back here, OG Rodri. But you know this is going to come back. You know this is right around the corner. Form is temporary, class is permanent. And Rodri is a player that when he does regain his powers, when he does come back to the fore, £14 for a classic card is going to be more than worthwhile having in here. A guy that can play in Team 1 of anyone's gallery very, very comfortably. I couldn't believe the price point he was at, and he's an absolute must-have addition in here. I've been a huge fan of Ryan Gravenberch and everything he's been doing at Liverpool under Arne Slot, and I think he's quietly became, I don't want to say quite the poor man's Rodri, because price-wise on Sorare they're not too dissimilar than now for classic cards, but as a kind of watered down peak Rodri. He's got high AAs, very decisive capable, but he's got that great mix of having defensive statistics like interceptions and duels won to complement all of those passing stats to make him a genuine all-rounder, an absolute boss. Sandro Tonali at £10 right in and behind these guys makes up the top 5. Very similar profile on a few more set pieces for Newcastle than what Gravenberch is for Liverpool, etc. I'm a huge fan of Tonali. He's a Scudetto winner, and since Newcastle have stood by him through the ban, you do feel now is a big part of the payoff that Tonali is trying to pay back to the Newcastle support. And at £10, I think you really know what you're getting here. Newcastle don't rotate a lot. And I would probably keep Jack Grealish into this top section here that we've got so far for the top 2 teams. We all know how amazing he's been so far this season, winning Player of the Month and Man of the Match awards. His AA is undeniable. If he picks up a decisive, it's job a good one. We are cooking cooking with gas, and he's going to play every game for Everton this year. The only games I don't know if he's going to play is if he can play against Man City or not, so I really need to watch out for that this weekend. But it's £6 for a limited classic card is insane value for money, considering the scores he can deliver compared to the likes of De Bruyne and some of these other players that we've got that are more expensive than him. He is a must have. Less than him, but at £4.30. Again, I just want to keep in this top end of the conversation is Granit Xhaka, who since going to Sunderland has became exactly who we thought he was going to be. The guy that's at the fulcrum, the centre of everything, of all things Sunderland. And if he can't unlock those decisives, I know the 100 came in international duty, but as you can see in the Premier League, very comfortably operating between 55 and 75 really. And he does have that peak of 84 in there as well. That's 6 midfielders that for your top 2 teams, if you think about those top 4 defenders we just looked at there, can give you some fantastic combinations that really should be setting you up towards the top of the leaderboard. And then we have a nice little underbelly here of 3 midfielders that I'm a huge fan of for all of them individually. I think they're having good seasons, or they've got the making of having a good season. And at £2.50 and below for Llorente, who again, like, isn't all the way there formidable wise. Maybe you could find someone slightly better value for money, but with how nailed on he is, with how good his AA is, and he's really mastering this right back role for Atleti, and for how good Atleti are being and how attacking he is from that position, he is really well set to do everything that Gravenberch etc. does, where he can unlock a triple-triple, a double-double, he can get those passing stats into the final third, and he can also catch a decisive where he can do any sort of score that you want to see here. Double 85 pluses against Villarreal and Liverpool. He's hit 100s in the past. He's been very consistent and very formidable for Atleti over the years, and I think you really know what you're getting from him. Max Arnold is hitting peak form at the moment. Wolfsburg, as we mentioned with the goalkeeper, are in an okay place right now, but Arnold in particularly, individually, is back into the sort of form we all know and expect of him, which makes him extremely formidable. Julian Brandt, as always, struggling with fitness, but when he is fit and available, you just know what you're getting from him. A decisive a game is pretty much what's on the menu. And for Team 3, for the underbelly of the squad, those 3 guys, it combined, like what we're talking there, like £7.50, I think. Exceptional value for money, and they add in the quality, the numbers of options we need to be able to maybe rotate between midweeks and weekends for a few of them. Now, goals for me are the one thing in Champion Europe you cannot do without, and sadly the guys that absolutely guarantee the goals cost an absolute fortune. And considering we do have a budget to build out this entire squad with, I've tried to get myself 6 forwards into this budget, and I did this a little bit beforehand, as some of you will know who have been following the watch list. It was created about 3 weeks ago at point of recording, 2 weeks ago, and some things have happened since then. One of those things has been Julian Alvarez smashing Real Madrid and smashing Frankfurt, and his price has jumped up a little bit. It does say here he's £60, but he's actually £21 for a classic limited on the floor at the moment. Spider-Man is the main attacker for Atleti. Everyone loves him in Argentina. You know what you're getting from him. A very AA friendly forward, and he punches and bunches, man, doesn't he? He absolutely delivers it. And yeah, he's caught extra fire since I've put the list together before recording the video, but is still my top forward pick for this, make no mistake about it. Jeremy Doku at £14 at the moment feels like he has arrived at City. His AA has finally unlocked in the Premier League, where he is sizzling down the wing. He is slicing through fullbacks, and in a City team that is always going to be in amongst the goals, what more do you want from a winger, really? £14 for him. Right behind him we've got Christian Pulisic, which again, set piece taking, attacking midfielder as a forward card, very formidable. Domenico Berardi, exact same type of situation here. And with AC Milan and Sassuolo both not being in European football, 2 very reliable weekend forward type players. Florian Thauvin is in a very similar situation here with Lens, but he's got himself back into the France team. Thauvin is a France World Cup winner, and it looks like he's got a little bit of his groove back, being back in the French league for Lens, where he's the main man on all the set pieces and really running the show for them. It's £6, high value. And the very last forward I've managed to squeeze in here is Karim Adeyemi, who seems to have really caught his best form. Again, like I've mentioned, a big fan of this Germany under-21 Euro winning team, where Adeyemi was the star striker, the star man up front, alongside Lucas Nemeka and Musiala Wirtz. It was a very formidable attack line. Again, a guy that is very patchy and very flaky, and does go at the bottom of the depth chart here, but I think with how reliable the rest of the guys are on top of him, you can really use Adeyemi Adeyemi when you know he's going to play. When Dortmund are at home to somebody they should be ripping. Good Champions League games in midweek is another thing I was thinking about. And for 3 teams, we could play double forward at a maximum. So if we liked all of these strikers, we could play them. But again, with the other options we've got in other positions, we don't need to. And I think for £250 in Classic Limited, these 26 players are pretty much as good of a cohort I think you could mash together there. I'd be really interested and excited to see if any of you guys could outdo me, as it were. Build a better 2.5, 3 team build, however you want to think about this, that'll have the same level of quality of options, variety of, you know, full-backs to centre-backs, internationals and midweeks and everything else that could compete at this level. Because I was so surprised I could get the likes of Rodri into this, as well as De Bruyne's and Guardiol's and Courtois. I thought for this £250 budget it would be really hard to get that many star caliber level players into it. But with the point of the season we're at right now, with so much focus on in-season, maybe the classic market just has a few more opportunities in it right now. But this squad here, for me, is going to live very, very comfortably at the top end of Division 2 and in Division 1 for Classic Champion. And it's all going to be about selection choices on your captain, as well as navigating through the fixtures to really nail the combinations in. But this has absolutely everything in it, where you can see the defence ripping away, strikers that really bring what they're supposed to, and a midfield that can really send you to the top of the leaderboard. And I think too much can be made when you're building teams and strategies around focusing on a club or focusing on a league. One of the great things about Champion Euro, with all these players that we've got, is we have a lovely balance of guys that should be at the top of the table, guys that don't play in midweeks, and guys that are just right bang in a good spot, in a good club at the right time. Maybe some of them came back from injury, some of them just got the captain's armband, the Tonali thing that we mentioned, where there's not really that many unknown elements. And that, I think, is one of the benefits of just playing in the wider champ context, is that you can just add in more ingredients from more different pies. The Premier League is a siloed thing, Bundesliga, La Liga, Liga 1, they all have pros and cons and weaknesses and strengths that you need to wrestle and navigate with when you're doing those in-season competitions. But when you come back into Classic and you go into the region, you can just, you know what, well, I need some really high-scoring defenders. Well, let's just go to the Bundesliga and get Rom and Grimaldo. I need some smash midfielders that are going to nail. Well, why don't we get Xhaka and Grealish and Rodri out of the Premier League? And then look at all the forwards we got, Alvarez and Doku's and da-da-da, that sort of thing. And Champ is a lot of fun for me, and my gallery and my collection is quite specific to me in terms of how it's been built and curated and deployed over the years and currently every game week. But for any of you guys out there, Champ should be real fantasy football for a lot of you, whether you are like a single league player and you just have an eye, you have a fancy for a few other players and clubs around the continent. But that's really where you can get real fantasy football teams together, I believe. You know, like the League Ones are fine, but the regions is where you get that real mishmash of, oh, there's a great defence here in this country, maybe an attacking defence like Germany, or a really solid defence like maybe in Spain or England, and then you can get your set-piece taking midfielders and forwards everywhere, and really just have a no-nonsense, no-excuse approach to having a great SO7 lineup. And for spending 250 quid on classics, I think that's one of the best things you could probably wish to get out of it, really. So that's what I've went for on this one. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section down below. On screen and now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you did enjoy the video, please do hit like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one.